we need your 1.1 Wuling base. Okay, Wuling full base for AIC level 2. Before we begin, let's talk about the requirements. First, your region must be at least level 8. Make sure that your ore yield is as follows. Have some spare Wuling batteries. And finally, make sure that your outpost level is 3 because only then can you sell SCBatteries and Yazhen A. Now here is a list of facilities and layouts to help in your building. Here's one for the sub base. And here's the one for the main base. Alright, let's get started with the build. Now for the first build, go to the main base, make sure the water is on the left, go top down, and then take your AIC core, place it on the top left, move it 4 spaces down like this, and then take 2 refining units facing to the right, place it over here and over here. Make sure to turn off the water mode. There we go. Now take 2 shredding units facing to the right and copy the same pattern like this. Now place a protocol stash in front of here facing to the right as well. Make sure to have 1 space here, and then output Ferrium into both the refining units, and then let's connect them like this. Make sure to power with a pylon over here. Now go on the bottom here and let's make our power source. For this, you need at least 2 or 3 thermal banks depending on your usage. For now, let's place 3 of them. And then I'll go to logistics, take a splitter on the belts, place it anywhere over here or here facing downwards, and then connect it. Make sure you're outputting to all the thermal banks and use the old batteries. Now, let's go to the sub-PAC. Now for the second build, go to the sub-PAC, make sure the waterfall is on the left, and then let's go top down. You can place your AIC core on the bottom here for now, and then we need 4 fluid pumps. So let's place those. First over here, 1, and then another 2, another 2, and the last one should be here. There we go. Now let's get started with the plants. Let's go on the top over here. Let's start by putting down a seed picking unit over here facing to the left. Make sure there's 1 space over here, and then a planting unit facing to the right like this. Take a protocol stash and place it over here facing upwards. Then connect it like this, and then power with a pylon over here. Take a pipe splitter and place it over here on the corner facing upwards, and then connect it to the planting unit. Now copy this 3 more times on the over here, and over here. There we go. Now make sure to power the fluid pumps. Power this one as well. And then let's connect these 2 to a single converger. Go to logistics, take a converger, make it face upwards, and place it over here. Connect both the fluid pumps to the converger. There we go. And then connect this pipe all the way to the top, over here. And that should supply the Wuling plants. Now let's place the seeds. There we go. Now that we are done on the Wuling plants, let's go to the top and make the sand leaves. First, take your planting unit facing to the right over here, and then a seed picking unit facing to the left, another planting unit facing to the right over here. Turn off the water mode, and then connect like this. There we go. Now copy this, rotate, and then place it like this. Now remove this and then take your AIC core, and then we will input through here. Make sure to power with a pylon in the middle, and then input the sand leaves over here. Let's copy this and then place it under here. Now let's put the sand leaves in the planters. There we go. Now that we're done with the left side, let's do the right side. Now over here on the right side, let's start by making our depot bus. We can do that by doing this. Take a depot bus section and then move it on the corner. Now continue this as a straight line going upwards. And there we go. Alright, now let's get started with the build. Take two depot unloaders, place them over here and over here. There's one space here and here. Now take a refining unit facing downwards over here. Be mindful of the alignment. Turn off the water mode. And then take 3 shredding units facing to the left, aligned like this, and then place 3 of them like this. Now take 2 grinding units in front of the shredding units facing to the left. Place them here and here. And then take another refining unit, place it facing to the top over here and facing to the left over here. Turn off the water mode as usual. And then take a forge of the sky and then place it over here facing downwards. Make sure it's aligned like this. And then the protocol stash goes under here facing to the right. You can move it anywhere as long as it fits. Power with the pylon over here and over here. Make sure there's space here. Now for the top unloader, we will output the Wuling plant we are printing. For me, it's Xircon. And then for the bottom one, it's sand leaf. And then let's connect it together. For the top, it goes here. This one goes straight into the middle one. This refining unit goes into the bottom one first, and then the second output goes to the shredding unit. Make sure to click here so it turns. And then this shredding unit outputs 2 powders. This shredding unit outputs to both grinding units, 1 each. And then this bottom one outputs 2 powder as well. Now this grinding unit goes to the refining unit here, and then this one to the forge of the sky. Do the same thing for this one, like this. And then it goes to the protocol stash. Now let's copy this build. But before that, make sure to put a splitter over here. Take your pipe splitter, make it face upwards, and then place it right there. Now we can copy this. Make sure to not select this and only this. And then copy this 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Now let's connect the water. Go to the fluid pump, take a pipe converger, place it anywhere here as long as it's facing to the right or to the top. And then connect both fluid pumps like this. Then take the pipe from the converger all the way here. Click here, and then go straight up until you connect to the last forge of the sky. There we go. Now this should make you Xira Knight. All 4 of them will be at 100% efficiency. Now let's proceed to the main base again. Now, back here on the main base, let's make the plant printers. First, make sure the river is on the left. Go top down, and then take a seed picking unit facing upwards, place it over here, and then a planting unit facing downwards on its right, another one up here facing to the right. Then take a protocol stash facing downwards over here. Power with the pylon right here, and then let's connect the belts. Turn off the water mode for the planting units. And then copy all of this. And then rotate, and place right here. Now for the Wuling plant printers, on the top here, make sure to place a planting unit facing to the right, a seed picking unit facing to the left, and then a protocol stash over here facing upwards. Connect the belts, and then power with a pylon. We need a fluid pump for this, so place it over here, and then connect it, and power with a pylon as well. For the planters here, we need to put sand leaf. And then for the Wuling plant, make sure to input Yajin. We cannot sell Jinkao tea. We can only sell Yajin syringe. So let's put Yazhen. Whoops. Make sure it's the seed. There we go. Next, let's build the fluid pumps for the main base. Now for the fluid pumps, go back to the thermal bank setup. Make sure the water is on the top, and then let's start by placing down 6 fluid pumps. There we go. Now, take a conduit inlet and place one for each pair, every 2. There we go. Now take a pipe converger and then make sure it goes into the inlet, like this. And then connect each fluid pump. Make sure 2 goes into 1 inlet. There we go. Make sure to power with the pylon. And that should be good to go. Now that we are done setting the pumps, let's go place the depot buses. First, make sure the water source is on the bottom. Go to the top. Place the bus port over here in the corner, and then make a straight line of sections to the right. There we go. Now, take 1 conduit outlet and place it over here. And then, let's connect the water source. There we go. We can now get started on Yazhen A. Now that we have a fluid source, let's start with the Yazhen. Let's place 5 depot unloaders over here. Make sure there's a space over here. Output Yazhen in the middle. And then cuprium on the other 4. Now, let's take 4 refining units, place them like this, and then the other one over here. There we go. A shredding unit in the middle, over here. Then take 2 fitting units and place them over here. Same pattern. Now take a molding unit aligned to this refining unit, move it over here. Make sure there's 1 space here. Go to production 2, take a reactor crucible, place it over here, aligned like this, and then a filling unit facing to the left, like this. And then finally a packaging unit over here aligned to this fitting unit, and then a protocol stash to collect the product. Now power with a pylon over here and over here. Now, place a water treatment over here facing upwards and over here. Let's connect the belts. For the cuprium, very simple, just like this. And then for the right side, make sure the Yazhen goes to the crucible, and then the cuprium goes to each refining unit, and then both refining units on the right go to the molding unit, to the filling, and then to the packaging unit. Now, let's do the pipes. Let's start with the pipe splitter. Take a pipe splitter, place it here, facing to the right, and then over here, facing downwards. Over here, also facing downwards, and over here, also facing downwards. Now, take a pipe converger, place it over here, facing downwards, and over here, facing downwards. let's connect the pipes. Go over here, supply this refining unit, make sure it's getting to both of them, and then on the right, do the same thing. Now for the output of the sewage on this side, just do it like this. Go straight over here, and then click here, and finally down here. Go to both water treatment units. There we go. Now for this side, we will use this on the other build. Now we need a source for the reactor crucible. For that, place down an inlet, or rather an outlet, over here on the left. Place it over here so we can have a clean pipe going here. And then for the last outlet, place it over here. Now let's connect both of these to the inlets. There we go. Now that we have connected both, this conduit outlet can supply to the reactor crucible. And then we can start making Jinko solution. There we go. Output to the orange pipe. Connect the orange pipe to the filling unit. And then we should start making Yajin. Make sure to connect. I forgot, sorry. And then, there we go. We can start working on the Xircon. Now for the Xircon, let's start by placing down reactor crucibles. Place the first one over here, facing to the left. It's 2 spaces away from the depot bus and 1 space away from this pipe. Place another one on the right, 2 spaces in between, and then another 2 below, with 1 space in between. Place the last one over here on the bottom, aligned like this. Take 2 water treatment units with the opening on the top, over here. And then a protocol stash right here facing to the left. Go to the top here again, take a depot unloader, place 2 of them over here, aligned like this. With 2 spaces here, place another one over here. For the middle one, output Ferrium powder. For the other 2, output Shiron Knight. And then connect them with the belts. The Ferrium will go into the middle, to the right, to the bottom, into the crucible. The crucible will go to the stash. Now, power with a pylon over here, so it can power all the structures. Now let's copy this and place it over here. Now, let's start with the pipes. Take a pipe splitter, face it to the right, and then place it over here, over here, over here, and finally over here. And then, for the crucibles, make sure to output this one on the orange pipe to the second one. This one also on the orange pipe. The third one also on the orange pipe. But for the fourth one, the yellow pipe. Now, for the bottom, connect the ones going to the treatment unit in front of them. But for the middle ones, it should go into the crucible. Do the same thing for this one. There we go. Now, let's take the fluid source from this one and move it all the way here. And then click right here. Move it across all the way to the last one. And there we go. We have water now. Now, let's take the sewage source. Let's take a pipe splitter, place it over here, facing to the right. Now, the sewage can go straight over here until to the second yellow pipe, going downwards to the middle crucible. There we go. Now, this reactor crucible will output sewage, and we will connect that over here on this reactor crucible. There we go. Now, this reactor crucible will output sewage as well. Let's connect this to this reactor crucible on below the orange pipe. There we go. Now it should be complete. Now let's configure the reactor crucibles. All the crucibles on the top will output liquid xiranite. This one will go to the yellow pipe. This one will go to the orange pipe. This one will go to the orange pipe as well. Orange pipe as well. There we go. Now for the second lines, it's very simple. If it's going to the water treatment, output the inert one, which is this, the dark green. If it's going to the reactor crucible, output Xircon effluent. And then do the same thing for this one. Effluent to the crucible, and then the inert one to the water treatment. And then the same goes for this one. But we will have to wait for the sewage to come. Now that we have outputted the effluent over here, make sure to choose the output of the last crucible. Output the Xircon, and then on the pipe that we are using, output sewage. And then this should supply to this reactor crucible. This crucible will now do the same thing as this one. Inert one for the treatment unit, and then Xircon effluent on the one going to the reactor crucible. And then, as usual, Xircon, and then sewage for the output. Now that once you get this running, this one should work. And then, wait for it. There we go. Now, output the inert one on the treatment unit, and then the effluent to the crucible. Now we are done with the Xircon. Now let's build the batteries. Let's start by placing 6 depot unloaders. And then from left to right, it's gonna be 2 originium, a sand leaf, 2 originium again, and then Xircon. There we go. Now from the left, copy the first 5 into the right. There we go. Now take 5 shredding units, offset the first one like this, and place it like that. Make sure to leave 1 space, and then place another 5. There we go. Now take a grinding unit, offset by 1 like this, and then leave 2 spaces, leave 1 space, and then leave 2 spaces. You should have 4 of them. And then take a packaging unit, place it anywhere here, and then a protocol stash next to it facing upwards. Power with a pylon over here and over here. Now let's connect all of them. Let's start with the shredding unit of the sand leaf. Make sure it goes to both grinding units, or at least 2 of them. This one as well. And let's connect them all. Oh, this is bothering me. And that should be it for the battery build. Now that we are done on the first row, let's start again by placing a depot bus port over here and make a straight line going to the right again. There we go. Now before we start on the components, we can copy the battery factory and place it over here. You can move this anywhere here since we only need a small space for the components. Alright, now let's start with the final build. It's the Ferrium and Xiranite component combined. Let's start by placing down 6 depot unloaders. And then from left to right, it's going to be sand leaf, 2 originium, cuprium, and then 2 xiranites. Now you might be thinking, that's too much xiranite usage. I only have 4. Don't worry, I will tell you what to do later, and what will happen if you keep this running. But for now, let's place 3 shredding units over here, and then a refining unit over here with 1 space here for the pipe. And then take a grinding unit, place it right here. Next to it, a fitting unit also facing downwards. And then take 2 refining units facing to the left over here, facing downwards over here. Turn off the water mode for both of these. And then take a protocol stash, place it over here, facing upwards with 1 space. And then place 2 gearing units next to it, over here, both facing downwards. And then go to production 1, take a water treatment unit facing to the right, over here. Go to logistics, take a converger of the belts facing to the left. Place it anywhere over here. Now let's connect it all together. The first one will be like this. Then this will go straight down. And then this will go over here, click, go to the left into this gearing unit. Connect everything else normally, like this. This fitting unit just goes straight down to the gearing unit. And then these shredding units each go to the grinding unit. The grinding unit just goes like this, over here, and then over here. Now make sure to power with a Xircon pylon. One over here, and another over here. That should power everything. Now, as you remember earlier, this conduit has 2 fluid pumps, but it's only going to 1 reactor crucible. We can borrow with a pipe splitter facing to the right, place it there, get water from this, and then connect it to the refining unit over here. Now this refining unit can connect into the water treatment unit right here. And now that should be working. Oh wait, don't forget to connect the belts like this on the end, otherwise you're not gonna collect it. Now, we're finished with the cuprium and the xiranite. Now if you're wondering if this is bad because your production of batteries is not gonna be consistent, it's okay. Because what you can do is you can either turn this off if you don't need it, like this. You can switch it off. But even if you keep it on, you're not gonna lose power on your base as long as you have this setup. Now since we are using SCBatteries, you can remove this, take a splitter, place it over here again, and only use 2 thermal banks. 2 is enough. Make sure to use SCBatteries. There we go. And you should be good to go. Now, for the main base, here is a final look. Yazhen A, Xircon, SCBatteries, SCBatteries again, and finally the components. As you can see, there's a lot of space, so you can actually move this, this, and this around. But for these ones, I recommend that you keep these 2 together. Everything else can be moved as long as you supply water. And then on the bottom right here, we have flowers and the AIC here. And the fluid pumps are on the bottom because the water source is on the bottom. Now here are the stats. As you can see, we are producing 60 Xircon, 6 Syringe A, and 12 Wuling batteries per minute. Now, you can notice that we are using too much originium and too much cuprium. That is because we're making components. It will hinder our Syringe A and Wuling batteries a bit when we run out of originium and cuprium, but it shouldn't be a problem. We also have 55 per minute left on the Ferrium ore if you have meta transfer on. You can make a Syringe C with that, or anything else you want. But I didn't include it here since it's probably not important. But that should be all for the base. Now that we are at the end of the video, here are the blueprints. First of all, thank you. This video took me a long time to make and I am very tired, so I would appreciate it if you like and share this. Also, we have a Discord and all the layouts and blueprints will be there. Thank you and goodbye.